Hello, it's Sondra here. I'm just going to show you just how I work with colour. Colour's quite difficult to get it right, and when you're first starting out, it's quite hard because you think, oh, what will work for me, what won't? So the first thing I've got is my palette, a Montmartre palette. These are just little tear-off papers with paper palettes, which are actually quite good. And I just use one of these. I've got my paper here all done up with some tape because I tend to work fairly fast with that. The paper I've used is this acrylic painting pad, and it's 300 GSM, but you can get anything from 190 upwards. Again, fairly cheap, came through Aldi. I've got these amazing brushes I love because I've got the blunt edge, the square edge at the end. And they came from Aldi too, quite cheap, if you look out for bargains. And I always use a fashion magazine, like in this one, it's all about houses and colours. And when I get stuck, I think, what can I do for colours? So here's a great way to operate. You see the greens, this is just promoting green, and look at all the different greens you can get there. And that would make a nice harmonising painting. And then you can contrast it with a complementary colour like a bright pink, something like that. And that would look like wow, give a bit of wow effect. All these colours can be produced from 3 colours using red, a yellow and a blue with white and black. So all of these are primary colours, these 3, and your white and your black to bring in the darker tonings. When you're using yellow, you can also use yellow ochre, or you can use the lighter coloured yellow, like here, yellow light, yellow light. I'm just using cheaper paints here because it's only just rough patches. And what I do is I put together different colours and do them over across 4. So I just don't worry too much about how things are going to work out. So I've got a choice here. I've got the pinky tonings. I have the yellow orangey colours with turquoisey contrast, which we can obtain from those colours I've showed you. We've got the yellowy colours here, and of course black and white always looks wonderful when you contrast it with like the wow factor, amazing. And of course, you know, black and white's a really amazing combination to use. So we'll do a couple today. I'll do them in 2 separate lots. So I'm thinking I might do the orange here because we have to mix it, and that's what's so good. So we've got our things here, got a bit of water. Oh gosh, where's it gone? Oh, I did have my water, it's here. Sorry about the delay. A brush, I'm just using a bigger brush at this stage, and I'm going to have to put down, to get that orangey toning, those colours, I'm going to need yellow and white down here, quite a bit of white and red. Okay, so that will create the orangey tonings. And then going into different yellows, if we pull out yellow ochre here, that will give you a different colouring with the yellows there. And to contrast it, we can use this here, cyan blue, deep cyan, this one of my favourite colours. Love it, makes beautiful, beautiful tonings. So that's enough there. We don't want to confuse everything. So the first thing I'm doing is, we don't have to look at this, but we know that tonings we're going to look for. So the first one is I'm going to have a go at mixing up. I'll start with my darker one, so I'll use a yellow ochre with a little bit of the red, that's primary red. It's quite bright, as you can see, and we'll put a bit of white with it, probably a little tiny bit more red. It's not as orange as I quite want it to be, so we're pulling more. The yellow there, that's not working, so we'll try the yellow ochre here again, which is giving it a better toning of orange. Do you see there? So that's not a bad colour, it's similar. So just using this, I'm not thinking too much, I'm just laying down colour. And you can lay down colour many ways. I just tend to, using this technique, work across 2 or 3 or 4 at once. Give it no thought. It's just a matter of laying down some colours and creating a bit of a base for where you're working. The idea is you just run across this, you don't worry too much about it. I'm running out of paint, so we'll add a bit more in here, and we can flip this up and around. We can actually put some water into to dilute it, and the same here, spread it across. Not thinking about composition, thinking about nothing except laying down colour. Okay, so there's your first layer. Rinse the brush out. I wipe it on this towel here, because that's why the towel's here. It's quite handy. I think we'll go into more of a yellowy toning now, the yellowy colour. So we can just pull up the two yellows together and see what happens. They come out quite a nice duck reddy colour, and we can add some white to it. Okay, so this is why we have limited colours. We don't want too many colours all mixed in one go. It just makes it too hard. So again, I'm just putting down colours here. We need a darker colour soon. You can see what's happening. We're getting all these lighter colours, and it's actually not working terribly well at this stage. You've got not enough contrast here, and you can see just what's happening there. Now, to get the darker colour, you don't need black. You can have black if you wish, but you could add the red and the blue, and it becomes a beautiful dark colour. Do you see what's happened here now? It's become almost a deep blacky toning. Quite not black, but a really nice colour. Put more red into it, it becomes more of a very deep orangey, a purpley colour with a bit of orange into it. So, and that's very deep purple, which actually will look quite good here. And you can see, again, I'm just putting it around. I'm not thinking about what I'm doing, because the concept is just get some colour down and just feel the colour. Don't think, just do it, okay? This is what I'm doing. You don't think, you just do it. Because it's not a masterpiece, but what can happen is you're doing up some work for later, for when you might want to look for some blueprints, and you sort of think, gosh, I don't know what I'm going to paint today. Well, these will be all in your book, in your diary. Right, that's pretty good there. And I should have brought some paper towels over. Sorry, I'll go and get them now. I'm in the kitchen, that's where I work from. And I'm just finding my paper towels just very quickly. And I find these, I should have had it out. These are invaluable, you see. I use them all the time to make sure you've got, and always make sure you've got nice clean water. So make sure your brush is clean and get rid of the colour out of it, because if you don't, you're going to end up with contaminated colours, and you don't want that. So how are we going for colours? Yeah, I probably could do with a bit more brighter orange, I think, looking at that. And then we'll go for the turquoisey colour. So to get a brighter orange, I'm going to mix in more of that colour there and that colour with the red. And that's a nice bright orangey colour. Look at that difference. It's, whoops, that's a bit contaminated. So you see what I mean about the contamination there? It's contaminated there with that purpley shade. It doesn't matter if you have a little bit into it, but you don't want too much of it, because it's actually going to ruin your colours. You want your colours to be fresh. Do you see the difference there? Look at that lovely, lovely colour, just by keeping it away and not throwing it in amongst the mix. There. And with canvases, you can actually mix on the canvas itself. That's a gorgeous colour, love it, and it's so clean looking. Do you see how clean it looks? It's got the yellow toning in it, but it's actually such a clean, nice colour. I actually quite love it, to be honest. So that's looking quite good. We need a little bit over here. Don't be afraid to just lay it down. Don't think, just do it. I'm not thinking about anything except just lay the colours down. So there you are, you've got some good colours there already, the purple and that. And what I'm going to do now is just mix in that teal I spoke about, because that teal's is a lovely, it will be a lovely contrast there. You can see in this here, you've got the tealy shade, you've got that nice orangey colour, you've got this deeper colour, although that's a bit on the reddy side, but it still works in, tone on tone. You've got your dark purpley colours, and the contrast here with the greeny, the purpley, the tealy colour. Okay, so we're going to mix in. We need some more yellow over here. So I'm going to mix in the blue and the yellow to make a nice colour here. It's very dark, we don't want it that dark, so we need to mix it in with white. Look how lovely and soft that's becoming, and that's almost becoming like the colour on here. So you see that lovely checkered colour there? Very, very similar. So it's an easy matter of just adding more white to make colours lighter, and just by just adding this toning around, again, not thinking about where you're putting it, just fill in some of the gaps. Of course, you'll take a lot longer to do this than I will, because I'm trying to get it all done very quickly in a session, and you'll take a lot more care, I would think, because you know you're going to have a few goes at this using different colours. So this is the first one of a series that we're doing about mixing colour and getting nice colours, a nice colour palette that you can use later. And you can see already how that blue, or that tealy colour, has actually added a beautiful dimension to the whole thing. I'm going to put more white into here. It's becoming almost a greeny toning here. And you can put the greeny colour too, it becomes a limey greeny colour. And again, do you see the colouring, how it's changing because I've added a little bit of yellow into it? And it's given it a bit more interest. So you're adding lighter colours, contrasting with the dark. And this is a lovely place to put, when you contrast light and dark, this is when things start to stand out and come forward. And you can see here, it's not very nice, that little bit there, but you can see how quickly that comes forward because you've got that in the background, that tone. And it's a lovely sort of a tealy colour. And the good thing about acrylic paints, you can go over and over and over them. You're not stuck like you cut. See how I've just covered that very quickly? You don't have to have it all one colour. And if you've done something and laid it down, you don't like it, you can just paint over it like I am doing here. You know, I'm not fussed on that area there. It looks a bit, not a nice colouring. I said to you it was a bit contaminated. Sure enough, it was. So I've got rid of it very, very quickly. And I'm just going to try and get more white out of here. Just put some more water in because we spread it around so we just get the good contrast. And again, it's getting lighter and lighter because I'm running out of paint, but that's okay. Don't do what I'm doing. Do a bigger mixture of paint. I've just tried to get this out here fairly quickly and as short a time as possible, just to show you what you can achieve by using just, well, 3 primary colours and then adding white. I didn't use any black this time, as you know. I turned the black from using, do you remember the red and the blues combined to make that dark colour, which was the purple? Because I think the purple looks better than black would have been just a little bit too much, I think, with this toning. So we're going to go over here. It's getting lighter and lighter, and that's fine, that's good. Again, it's harmonising colours. You see what's happening? Because we've been using the same colour all the way through on this palette, it's actually creating a very harmonising sort of piece of art. And it's not a piece of art yet because, as you know, it's just at the beginnings. We will work on this later, and I'll show you how to convert this into a better looking painting. But at the moment, the whole idea was for me to get this laid down. Whoops, that's not good colour. So we need to put some white into there. Again, that's not good. As I said, don't do what I do. You're contaminating it. And really, you should let it dry in between, but I'm just rushing things, and that's pretty ugly down there because it's made it really, really ugly colour. So we'll try and cover this up by adding some white and more of a turquoisey shading. That's better already. Do you see how quickly that contaminated? Okay, so that's quite good. Some of it's quite soft. I've covered most of the palette here, the can, well, it's a bit of paper really. I do a lot of work on paper and I find it's very, very useful. So that's the palette at the end, finished. And that's as far as I've got here. I've created in about 10-15 minutes a nice palette for the future. Now, this is not finished by any means, but it's a start. And that's where I'll go to next. I'll show you what we can do with that and how we can get this to create a nice painting. But that's how you lay down colour. You only work with a limited palette. And as you know, I worked with 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 here, plus white. Didn't put any black in, okay? And that's, if you keep practicing your colour, you'll end up with a wonderful palette. So we know what that palette is. We would, on the back of this piece of paper, write down what the colours were. You'd write down the yellow, and the red made the orangey colour. Adding more red made it quite a deep reddish shade, but still with an orange tinge. And the purple, you know how to make that now. You'll make that out of the blue, and the red will make the purple. These two colours make that very deep purple. And depending on different shades of how much red and how much blue you put in, it'll be throw more blue or the more the red side. So that's my first lesson in colour mixing and getting palettes ready. And I'll just show you over here. This is one I've finished already. Not quite, but it's all in, again, just lilacs and purples and blue. So I've used neon blue, I've used the purple, and I've mixed to get the purple. It was actually a pink and a blue mixed in together with the teal colour coming through. And that's a lovely harmonious shade. I've made a few marks there, which I haven't done here, made marks, because I wanted to just show you how to do it freehold, right? So there's two paintings, two sides we're going to work on. That side, and I can show you how to work that, and this side. And what I would do is normally on a piece of paper at the back here, I would write down the colours that I've got. So I would write down primary yellow, primary red, and this colour was cyan, and it was a light yellow I used, plus white. And then I also used yellow ochre, which gave it that lovely toning here, that more of that yellowy, sort of a softer yellow. Yeah, not quite as bright as that yellow, but a softer toning. All right, so any questions through my website, but there's the first lesson on colour mixing. And let's see how we've done. There's this one here. So we've got some interesting tonings here. And I've added probably the purple because I didn't want the black, but that works very well because the purple is a lovely complement to the yellow. So as you look at your colour wheel, you'll see purple completely opposite. So that throws in that wow factor. And that purple, as you know, it can be made with softer tonings of purple. All you have to do is add lots of white. And as you can see, you'll get, I'm just showing you quickly, put the purple in here, and you get the lovely white contrast. So it's not, it's almost a mushroomy, purpley toning. So it doesn't have to be that deep dark purple. You can soften it up with the white and the pink. See the pink coming through? That's from the red in the brush. And again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this now because the idea was just to show you what's possible. And I've done only the dark colours and the contrast with the lighter, but we can go even lighter than that again. And just by doing that one there, that one little extra, do you see how much more nicer that looks? It's not so harsh. That's harsher because it's got the very dark purple. This is a lovely colour combination, and that would make a really nice painting, those colours there. And I know how to make those. So there you are. Any questions, come through my website and my Facebook. And I hope you enjoyed the lesson. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.